Hey people, I'm in my studio. I just yesterday got through, rearranging it, and things aren't really ergonomic enough in here for me to really work as effectively as I needed to, because I have a lot of songs to record and stuff. But I wanted to really just talk at you a minute, do another blog, talking blog. I've have some things I want to just kind of go over with you guys, give you some of my ideas again and about certain subjects. This time, I guess I'll tackle transhumanism. My experience with the idea of transhumanism and the singularity and all that goes back to like around 2006. I was talking to a musician, can't remember his name, I think he was out of New York City, and I was in Atlanta, Georgia at the time, trying to put together my last band, Incarcerate 9, and anyway, we started talking, and told me he was a singularitarian. Well, anyway, I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. He happened to be playing with the ex-drummer for Dimmu Borgir at the time. The English guy who played with him, the big kind of heavyset fellow, I can't remember his name. I think his name was Nick something or another. But anyway, Nick Barker, no? That's something like that. He was the one that was with them when they did the big song that they had, that they Progenies of the Apocalypse or something like that. Anyway, he was telling me about this, and he was telling me about the Venus Project and all this shit, and it seemed very interesting to me, and I was like, yeah, that sounds cool, living life extension, and he didn't tell me the part about merging humanity with computers and stuff like that, because that would have been possibly mind blown at that point. But anyway, fast forward to now, and they just made Saudi Arabia, the new crown prince. Well, he's not new, he's been around for a little bit, but he's like 32, he's really young. Supposedly he's given some women the right to drive, but he still puts people in jail for tweets that are offensive to the government or to the royal family or to Islam, right? So not exactly the hero of freedom and reform, and he's a little bit better, but not quite, Anyway, so Saudi Arabia awards citizenship to the first artificially intelligent robot a few days ago or whatever, and it's the same robot. It's the female android that joked that she was going to eliminate or destroy mankind, and she thought it was a joke. Anyway, and it's, it upset a lot of people and this, that, and the other, whatnot, whatever. So Saudi Arabia, that country of all countries, awards a citizenship to it was the first robot to get a citizenship to any country, basically. Well, I watched this video about Nome. I think it's called Nome. It's a city, I think it's Noem, and it's a completely smart city that they're planning to build on the Red Sea. It's going to be the first of its kind, the first completely smart city that's kind of patterned after or guided by the Venus Project. And if you ever go to their website, Venus Project, see what their ideas are, city of the future. Of course, it requires globalism and all of that, which I've said in my previous blog post that we're not, as human beings, ready for that. Of course, if we waited until we were spiritually awakened and all of that, and got along with one another and accepted other cultures as, the live and let live attitude around the world, then I would be all for this type of thing. But we're not there yet. This is like a forced assimilation thing that they're trying to push. And, technology is moving at the speed of whatever, light or whatever at this point. They said in this documentary that the computer power of once we get this artificial intelligence online, their computer processing capabilities would be equivalent to like a team of the smartest scientists in a room, but with the processing capability 20 times that or something like that. In which, anyway, long story short, in a year's time at this speed that these machines would be able to process the same stuff, basically, as these scientists would be able to do in 20,000 years. Think about that. They will be off and running in no time and having robot sex. And what I mean by that is they showed robots reproducing robots. It was an animated clip. But that's basically robot sex. And they won't need us, dude. They won't need us. They talk about a future where we do what we want to do. We don't have to worry about money. We have no real purpose. Yeah, you may be thinking poetry, music, art, and stuff like that, but they're going to do art. These robots are going to do art, and they're not going to need us. And when I was watching this documentary yesterday, I was high as a motherfucking kite. I hadn't done pot in several days. Took kind of a little break, and so it didn't take me much. I was pretty fucking high. And this shit just led my brain down some sort of vortex to where I was imagining that, the robots really made us, and we're just like some sort of software program running right now. And but what I ultimately realized, especially with the Saudi Arabian prince and all, and, there's reasons why, there's reasons why. Of course, these guys have money. The Saudi royal family, they have an ungodly amount of money. So it's that they can afford it, and it's in a region that gets a lot of sun. They're planning on doing this city completely off of solar and wind energy, which is great. But when you realize that this could be the hub of the robotic takeover of the world, and it's being given to such an oppressive regime as the Saudis, and the corporations attached to said government, the Saudis, then you realize that this really is them trying to control what can be used to control the population of the rest of the world. That's what I think. I may be wrong. I may be wrong about the whole thing. What if, like I said, what if it's the robots made us and we're just like a simulation? Yeah, which at the time made a lot of sense. But I was thinking about high brain and low brain frequencies and stuff like that. It was just crazy. But I digress. But you got to think about stuff like that. But it's gonna move so fast here in the next few years that we're not going to know what the fuck is going on. I mean, I'm 47 years old, and I'm even, like, since I've been alive, it's changed so much. It may look a lot like, you got cars still going down the road and stuff like that, but with the internet, and I was watching YouTube last night, and I was referring to my phone as the TV set. It was crazy. Because, I use my phone to watch YouTube a lot. Because, I have to, I guess, get in the right headspace to open up my computer anymore and actually interact with the shit. It's just the sign of age, really. But, it's just a weird rabbit hole we're going down with this futurism, this singularity shit. It's transhumanism. If we went so far with it and then just left it at that, like, I don't know, using some of this new biotechnology to help cure diseases and stuff like that, but we're wanting these people that we've or let run away with this shit. It's just, they're wanting to become gods. This is the gist of what I got from the mouth of the people who want to do it. They talk about this shit. They're not fucking around here. You know, and it's really out of people like mine's hands. I don't know. I'm gonna tell you, I don't really know jack about computers. They're just there, and I'm using them. I came of age in a time where most people didn't really even have computers. You know, I had a few friends that were kind of the circle of friends I was traveling in. I was hanging with. It was, you know, computer geeks, and they had computers. But at the time, it was like processing power was like minimalistic sort of shit. Now it's like crazy. But anyway, that's just my thoughts on the whole transhumanism. What I think needs to happen is we do need to do the renewable energy, solar, wind, stuff like that. We do need to catch our own water, but we also need to grow our own food. We don't need to have no damn robots doing this shit for us. We need to do it. We need to keep our purpose. Otherwise, we cease to be, I mean, we're not really real. This ego that we have inside of us is a fallacy. It's not real. But it keeps us going somewhat. And when we get older, we understand what it is and we pass it on to the next generation. And then, you know, like biological forms are supposed to do. We reproduce and go on to next generation and next generation and next generation and so on and so forth. Until it all eventually will end. But is this it? Is it the robots that are going to end us? Is it, or really, it's us exterminating ourselves with our own technology? I don't know, it's starting to seem like that, because when we have no purpose, we will cease to exist. Now, I mean, on my homestead, for example, in the coming next year or whatever, after I get the basic stuff, which I'm working on that, and get the homestead really looking nice, I'm going to build a greenhouse. I'm going to start growing some plants, some recreational fun plants, plus some plants that'll feed the family and make us completely energy efficient, and expand on my solar and do water catchment, so I won't have to be hauling water anymore. So if you can imagine, I'm going to have a few animals too. Right now the plans are for some chickens and some alpacas. But if you can imagine, here I'm going to be full-time growing and having food for the family and stuff like that. That's the plan. I don't want to. That's the reason I left the cities. I don't want to be in a smart city. And I got this strange feeling in the back of my mind that we're going to be forced into this shit. Anyway, that's my little talk. Hopefully it made some sense. And, hook me up with a comment. Let's talk about this shit. Give me some of your ideas. Pro or against this transhumanism thing. Tell me why. I'm very cautious about it. I gotta tell you honestly, I'm very cautious about it. It's very disturbing to me. Well, anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.